Welcome everyone to week 4, day 2 of environmental science. Just to give you guys kind of a heads up, we have about 20 species left still of our list. So if you're starting to fall behind and not understanding what species we're looking at, or you don't know how to identify them, I highly recommend you start asking questions or you just start paying better attention, okay? And maybe start studying a little bit. All these notes, guys, are here for you and you guys can use them. I link them almost every day, okay? So do that. Feel free to ask questions, but make sure you link things as well. Now, we're going to start off today with the American pine marten. As you guys probably can tell, it's a small brown animal, has good rounded ears, and this distinguished yellow patch on its chest and through its throat. Now, both these guys are American pine martens. This one is not as yellow, but it's in the wintertime, so their color changes just a slight amount. Okay, but the yellow patch is a very key distinguishing feature for the American pine marten. Now, the American pine marten, guys, is 24 to 30 inches in length, and that's not including the tail. With the tail, they're a little bit longer, and they weigh roughly about 2 pounds. Now, they're brown with a tint of gold or yellow, and they have a bright yellow chest. They do have those small little rounded ears like I showed you guys a little bit ago. And they live in northern Minnesota in both coniferous and deciduous forests. So looking at your oak trees or your pine trees, anything like that, okay, the difference between those two. Now, they do dig tunnels in the winter to hunt for prey. So they look for prey, guys, in the snow, able to dig around, find little rodents, things like mice, voles, moles. Whatever they can get their hands on is what they're going to try to eat in the wintertime because they're not super large, so they can be a really big apex predator. Okay. The next one is the fisher. This does look kind of similar to the American pine marten. Both are brown, both are quadrupeds, that means they have 4 legs. All those different pieces. My apologies. But this is American fisher, and we're going to keep going over it, okay? We're also going to compare this to the mink. They both look kind of similar. Both 4-legged. Both are very, very brown. But there's a couple distinguishing features here that we're going to talk about that should help you distinguish between them. So the fisher is 24 to 30 inches, and that's not including the tail. The mink, though, is 14 to 20 inches with a 5 to 9 inch tail. So we're talking a very big difference in size here. The fisher is 6 to 18 pounds, while the mink only weighs 2 to 4. So we can almost double, triple the weight compared to a mink when we're talking about a fisher. So it's a lot larger animal. Now, they do have dark brown, blackish rump, white or cream-colored bibs, while the mink is just a light to dark brown. Okay, the fisher has more of that variety of color, which we'll kind of go back to the photo and we'll look at it. And the fisher does have hints of gold and yellow, while the mink does have a white patch on either its chin, chest, or on its throat. And we'll kind of look at those as well. Now, the fisher does have a long bushy tail. The mink has a short, less bushy tail. And the fishers are found in the northeast, east, and southeast sides of Minnesota. And the mink is found statewide around water edges. Now, fishers typically prefer coniferous forests and will avoid open spaces. Now, they are pretty good predators and they will attack at things pretty commonly, but they know that they're not the largest animal in the forest, so they do not like to be in open areas where they can be more susceptible to predators. Minks always are by the water's edge because then they can always escape into the water. Now, looking at colors, this is the mink, guys. You guys can still see that white chin. It could be a white throat or it could be a white neck. But this is going to help you identify that it is a mink, okay? And it also does not have a very bushy tail. As for the fisher, it does have a very bushy tail. You guys can kind of see those gold streaks in it, all the different color pieces in it. That's a very key feature of a mink, or my bad, key feature of a fisher. And fishers are a lot larger comparatively to the mink, okay? The fisher looks kind of like the mean older brother, and the mink's like the sweet little baby, okay? At least in my opinion. Fisher, mink. Now, moving on to my favorites. This is the badger, okay? One of the key things you guys should notice right away. It has this big white line down the middle. It's a very round animal. And I know this image is not the best, but this thing has some huge claws, okay? Let's talk about it. So the badger, guys, is 20 to 35 inches long and it weighs anywhere from 17 to 24 pounds. Now, they have a white stripe from the nose down to the back of its neck. Nose to the back of its neck, my bad. And they have a yellowish gray fur. And they're found statewide besides the northeast side of the state. So up by like Two Harbors, and areas like that, they're not going to be found up there. Now, the key thing about badgers, guys, is they don't really have any predators. The only predators they really have are humans and dogs. Everything else kind of knows, like, don't mess with the badger, okay? Guys, if you corner a badger, if you will come at a badger, it's not very uncommon that they're going to attack back or strike back or get like angry at you. So things like coyotes, they kind of know this, that it's not worth the risk of them getting themselves injured to maybe get a meal out of one. So they kind of avoid them, which really causes their population to keep drastically increasing, which can cause some issues with agricultural fields and stuff like that. That's something that we'll get into a little bit later. Okay, I highly recommend you guys watch this video. Okay, it's a pretty sweet video. It's a guy catching a badger with his bare hands. I do not condone this. I'm not telling you to do this, but it is an interesting video to watch. My bad. I have the hiccups. Moving on, guys. Next one we have is the porcupine. Now, the porcupine, guys, as you guys probably know, it does have quills. If they go backwards, the porcupine cannot shoot out its quills. I know that is a very big misconception. They do not shoot those out at all. They stay in their body at all times. The only times they come out is if they get stuck into something, then they can come out. Now, the porcupine quill, though, is reverse hooked, meaning that if you think of like a fishing hook, it has that little barb on it, okay? So if we're looking at an image, angle this a little bit there. Looking at a fishing hook here, goes like that and has that little barb, okay? That little barb creates it just so it stays in the fish's lip. Now, porcupine quills do have those little barbs on it. So what realistically happens is that every time you flex your muscles when you have a porcupine barb in you, it's going to dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to cause you more and more pain. Now, that also makes it a lot harder to pull it out, and which is why it causes a lot of pain for your dogs and things like that when they're stuck in you. Now, the porcupine, though, is 24 to 40 inches long with a 5 to 7 inch tail, and they weigh somewhere about 18 to 35 pounds. So they're comparatively roughly the same size as a badger. Now, they're dark gray to black with white quills, and they're found in the upper 2/3 of the state and in the southeast corner. They prefer forest habitats. Now, one of the interesting facts about this, guys, is that they're known to eat radiator hoses on cars. Now, I know you guys probably don't know what your radiator hose is, but it is part of your car where the radiator meets the engine. It has coolant in it, keeps your engine cold. You have a hole in your radiator hose, you're going to spill coolant out, and your car's probably going to overheat, and it could possibly seize up. Now, I'm not 100% sure why they eat radiator hoses. I know there's some theories out there, guys, that they taste salty, and porcupines like the taste of salt, which is probably a pretty good guess, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay, I do not know that exact answer by no means, but I think it is an interesting statement that they do eat radiator hoses, and they've been caught eating radiator hoses. Now, this is the last one we're going to go over. Okay, it's a little masked bandit. Is the raccoon. Okay, hopefully most of you guys have seen a raccoon. They typically live in our residential areas, and we're going to kind of talk why. But here's the raccoon. Okay, now they're 30 to 37 inches, guys, with a 9 to 12 inch tail, so they're pretty large. They weigh about 15 to 23 pounds. They're black, gray, and white. They have a black mask on their face. Now, they do have a striped, bushy tail, and they're found statewide besides the northeast corner. So up in that Two Harbors region, again, guys, it is too cold up there and just not enough population for them to actually sustain life. Now, there is estimated 800,000 to 1 million raccoons in this state alone. So there's a lot of them. Now, with that being said, raccoons, guys, are pretty creative and they're pretty smart animals. They know to stay close to residential areas. They know to go into trash cans. They know where to hide so people don't see them. They know where to get their food. They're relatively smart. You're not going to really trick a raccoon. More or less, they're going to trick you. Okay. I know they are a pest and some people do not like them, but as an animal and how they've adapted to their environment is pretty cool and pretty interesting. Okay. But you guys can probably see that black mask on its face. You guys can still see that striped tail. It's a pretty key feature, guys, of being a raccoon. I know every year someone thinks there's a cat in their yard and it's a raccoon. Don't mistake a cat and a raccoon, guys. Please don't. It's not the same. Okay. That's all we're going to get through today, guys. If you guys have any questions, concerns, issues, problems, please reach out to me, guys. Please ask so I know what's going on. Just make sure you guys read the Reddit to Google Classroom. Make sure you guys complete everything. If you have not completed yesterday's infographic, make sure that gets done as well. Other than that, guys, have a good day. Bye.